Podcast. Hello and welcome to Emma's podcast. In today's podcast, we're going to be talking about the effect of the full moon in our lives. Because, interestingly enough, let's get started. It seems like we're in the middle of a chaos. The full moon's coming on the 25th, and it's been an interesting show. I will use a different word starting with an S and a show afterwards, so you can fill out the blank. But it's been a little bit of a madhouse for the past week or so. Pluto's changed house as well for the next 20 years, so there is some very interesting impact. To be honest with you, it's been very interesting. But as we're approaching the 25th, it seems like it's getting crazier and crazier by the minute, which could be extremely frustrating when you're trying to have a peaceful life and things flying left and right. Even the pops, to make it funnier too, are acting up. So it seems like everybody is acting up and you're like, can I have a break for a minute? Seriously? Just very, very interesting. So I saw something last week that really inspired me. That was on TikTok. There is interesting thing on TikTok. It's like everything else, interesting, non-interesting. But it was a gentleman, and I don't know if I saved it or not. Maybe I did. Who was speaking to an employee of an hotel and asked him if he likes his job and what he likes about it. And the individual just said he loved his job. And when asked to the employee why he loved his job, is the fact that any managers, anyone that will pass by him will ask him what can they do to help him to do his job better? What can they do to support him? And the comment was, other hotel he was before, he never had the support of it. He was supposed to make basically the quota. He was only spoken to when mistakes were made and basically were scolded and, reprimanded in any way, shape, or form. So it was extremely, extremely interesting to listen to it. And as I was speaking with, I was very interested to listen and very inspired about it because we talk about leadership and you can read tons of blogs and people that can help you with leadership, blah, blah, blah. Leadership comes by supporting each other's, not trying to target somebody when there is a mistake. You're going to be the downfall person. We're going to just blame you for everything that goes wrong, regardless what's going on. So it was very interesting when they were talking about it, what inspired these young men to be so happy, cheerful, communicating with everyone, and feeling empowered. I talked about leadership as well, about people who really inspire you compared to people where, you feel like it's a monkey in a circus show. We are looking at what can inspire the company because a lot of people think that if I can step on somebody else's head and I can climb that corporate ladder faster than anybody else's, I'll reach my goal. In fact, you can reach your goal without stepping on anybody else's head, foot, whatever part of the body you want to step on it, quote unquote. I'm just kidding. So please pick on one another. But you look at teamwork, and I hated that word for years and years and years. Say teamwork is this, teamwork is that. You're not a team person. You don't do teamwork, blah, blah, blah. It's easy to blame people and blame them because you're not a team player if you don't do what I'm asking you to do. So I'm going to label you as not a team player. And at the year end, sorry for the noise, at the year end, I am gonna nail you at your review because since you're not a team player, I'm gonna downgrade you and you're not gonna have a good raise, if any raise at all. This is the concept of an eye for an eye, a teeth for a teeth. And then people will try to, and I witnessed that and I was on the other end of the stick, would make sure that if something goes wrong, you're being blamed. They will, find the scapegoat, and you become the scapegoat, then you want it or not. Even I have stories I can tell you that even years after the people try to do this to me, I had the director, which I had told him, I said, you better to be in every single meeting with me because this one's going to set me up. She tried, she failed. The person moved to a different company, changed state, went somewhere else. Guess what happened? That year, she got basically, I don't know how she did, got a review of your peers. And all of her lies from the previous years, she tried to put it in when I wasn't working with her at all. And I was shaking my head and I knew exactly who he was because I recognized it. And I'm like, this is unbelievable how people are. When you work in the agile world, and I like the agile world a little bit better than the waterfall. Waterfall is you take the boss tell you to go and what to do, control everything. Agile world, you actually work as a team with different people from different groups where to go to a project where you actually can talk. You can exchange ideas. Everybody is supposed to listen, everybody. This kid, to me, was a very good example of what leadership is. Meaning, and that my friend Ross Swan will say that, you have different type of leaders. And one of them is a servant leaders, meaning what can I do to help you to do your job better? Because if you do your job better, guess what? I get stuff done too. I get to look good, not only look good, but I can drive my team into the right direction with less pain. You want to work smarter, not harder. That's what it should be, okay? Why make our life difficult when we can do it easier? So it's very interesting when you are listening to it to realize, well, that's a very interesting thing that this young kid was saying. Different manager, anyone from the company, the hotel, were asking him, how can I help you? He was able to speak out, to say how he could do his job better, how they could support him. That is a work environment you want. Sincerity, honesty, transparency. That is awesome. So why aren't we capable to do it? Why aren't we capable, even for the billion-dollar company or the small one? Because guess what? I have worked for a billion-dollar company. I worked and consulted for smaller companies who are even worse than the billion-dollar company, even by the square inches, which was like, holy crap, you put your hand on top of your head. It's like, holy moly. But you have to think, if you remove the effect of your ego from the equation and go with a different mentality of supporting each other, you can accomplish so much more. At the end of the year, you will get your raise. At the end of the year, it should not be a competition. And that's what I don't like. I'm not a huge fan of HR. Like, oh, we have to justify what we're doing. Well, you know what I'm doing every day. Why at the year end should I justify something then you already know what I'm doing? Why make it harder? There is some people who use what they call it the rocks. So every month you have to set up 3 rocks, blah, 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 and you have to accomplish it. This is a kind of archaic thing that doesn't help the evolution of a company. You set a goal for everyone, and everybody has to meet the milestone. If you don't meet the milestone, then this is where you need to reassess what works, what doesn't work. But you need to be able to open yourself up and be able to express what does work and what doesn't. People are afraid, and I've seen it too many times, to speak up because, oh my God, I'm going to get fired. Oh my God, I'm going to be the black sheep. Oh my God, this and that. Look at what we have in our lives. Look at what we're doing in our lives. There is absolutely no barriers that should be put on the front of us to be able to do that. The Old Boys Club, most of the younger generation have no clue of the Boys Club. When I worked, a few decades ago, and I started it in manufacturing world, which is the Boys Club. Only managers were men. Their rep were most female, actually. One female was a manager, but it was just for the corrugated boxes. It was nothing. She wasn't for plastic, engines, motors, She wasn't for the electronics, acid plastic, aluminum, stainless steel, and all of this. She was just, we're going to put you there. So we got that 1%. Okay. And it was all boys club, which to me, I'm like, I am going to match you people. The way you talk to me, I'm going to talk to you the same way. Which some of them didn't like that and complain. I said, well, if you talk to me this way, I'm going to respond the same way you're talking to me. So you will learn respect. You want respect from me, you respect me. But I had to kick that little nest of the boys club to get in. I didn't whine. I didn't care. I was an analyst at that point. I was becoming a senior analyst. I wasn't a junior anymore. I became a senior analyst there, driving some of the changes, understanding how things were working, blah, blah, blah. So the bridge between those guys, the IT, and the rest of the world. But it was very interesting that throughout that experience, you learn to stand on your own 2 feet. You learn to see different aspects and views of others, and you help to make the changes. Now, where we are, we all want that hunky-dory life, which equality doesn't exist. I know, I'm going to probably piss off a few people, but that's all right. We're not born equal. We're never going to be equal. However, your journey is different than mine. So, if you negotiate your salary, you need to negotiate your salary. You shouldn't be a barem and just say, oh, because I'm a female, I have to this and this and that. No, you need to learn to negotiate. Show what you can do and why, for the price you're asking, this is what you can do for the company. It's very simple. Been there, done that. Okay? So, when you work in an environment where there is competition, there's always going to be somebody else who's going to be slimier than anybody else is. Somebody who thinks they can do better than somebody else is, blah, blah, blah. The rule of thumbs is to be able to be cohesive. When you have a cohesive team that works together, that trusts each other, they can do so much more. I was working, there was a new histolab, not going to say which company, but that's easy if you look back at my background, that was created at that time. And the person that ran the show was pretty much the devil advocate. I like that guy. He was funny because at least he had no red tape. He could say what he wanted to say. People like it. Some did not at all. But at least he was transparent with his team. And he encouraged his team. He was honest with his team. He talked about situation. He never stopped the communication. And he empowered them to do their work. He inspired them to do their work. That is something we all should be thriving for. At the end of the day, we all want a raise. We all want the safety. We all want our paycheck. We want to be recognized or viewed. You know, I see you. It's not recognized for, oh my God, we're going to give you the red carpet. It's being recognized as an active player. But some play what I call the boys club. Oh, if you scratch my back, I scratch your back. Let's go play the political game, which I never liked the political game, actually. I like to be politically incorrect, and I love to be politically incorrect because for me, I don't have to fake it to you. But some people do. Now they wait couple months before the review to start to do this. Also then the old kissy. No. A team should be based on how do we support each other. We're not enemies. There is no competition here. Your biggest competitor is yourself. So think about it. Think about what can you accomplish or support somebody instead than stopping. Because every time you block somebody to do something, you're doing it against the company. It's not against that person. It's impacting the company. You are impacting the company at some level. And there will be a repercussion that you're not going to see. I loved when I started to work in corporate is to learn how the pieces of the puzzle works when you're looking at different departments, who's do what and how it impacts everybody else's. You realize very quickly everybody impacts everybody. At the end of the day, we are impacting each other. It is up to us to decide what kind of impact do we want. The agile style, this is what I love. And I had Jenny and my buddy, I have to talk to him. It's been a while. I've not talked to Josh. Really impressed me when I worked, I'm going to say the name of the company on this one, Thomson Reuters at that time. And it was full agile style, meaning When they were trying to take over one thing they were supposed to be doing, there was a new program that was basically passed on to them. And I was there as a consulting person. It was nice to be able to be heard. Somebody hear me. When I had to say something, even as a consulting person, they were listening to me. I was discovering how things were working because, again, if you're looking at a puzzle, how a company works, they don't work in silo. They work together. So one maybe group could impact another one, or it was like the discovery channel. What I call the discovery channel is like you think you got 3 groups you deal with, but in fact you got 7 more behind it. But you're discovering this by speaking and interviewing each group, how it impacts each other. What I love with those guys, and I will be always grateful because I work with them a couple of times and more than happy to go back and work with those guys, was the fact that they were supporting each other. Even if they were getting the hit in their faces, even if their deadline was changed and, you resolve one big issue and you're like, okay, good, I can breathe. And 2 minutes later, another hot potato came along the way. The way they allowed was to bring everybody in a room and said, okay, we got a situation here. How can we deal with this? And being able to talk about it, but without screaming, yelling, just like, okay, guys, we're under pressure, but hey, guys, can you let us know? The way they interacted, the way they really got the things going, to me, blew my mind. Is being able to see how much things they were able to do, but listening. Even myself, who was a consulting person, I said, we can do it, no problem. And they looked at me and said, she's crazy, but okay. She said, it's okay, let's do it. And we did it. We worked over the weekend. We got everything we were supposed to get done. It was awesome. But I love this kind of work because it really shows that you can have a VP, you can have a director, you can have a CEO sitting down and said, okay, how can we resolve this? Because now we have to meet a deadline. Now we have a challenge coming up. How do we handle this? That to me was amazing. That to me was like, holy crap. How do we get things done the way it's supposed to be done? We don't know, but let's do it. Somebody always have a solution or an idea that will trigger a solution. You plant a seed and let it grow. We all have different perspective on things. If we are able to communicate and support each other, then we can open it. It doesn't mean that my idea is the best than yours. It means we have to start with something and then we start to brainstorm and then we came up with something and said, okay, let's go with this solution and see how far we can go with it. If that works, great. If it doesn't, then let's meet again and see where we are so far and how can we modify it. That to me is really inspiring. So when I listened to that kid who was very happy, he loved his job. He did not like it. He didn't say, I'm here every day. He loved his job. When he was asked if he liked his job, he said, I love my job. Being supported as we do things is essential, is crucial. And a lot of people don't understand that. So it's amazing to see how can we get things done? How can we move along the way and be able to really embrace who we truly are? Nothing is ever the same when we do things. However, when we're supported by a team, this is where we can accomplish something. I love being inspired, but I love to listen to others, their stories. I love to be able to really embrace who I truly am by looking at how can I help others. And when I'm working with business owners or any other companies, depends on what I do in the roles, is to be able to support them. I am currently doing marketing for the MMC, which is the Meta Meditation Center here in Janesville. And it's very inspiring, actually, to be able to support that. I am not the star of the show. No, I'm supporting the MMC. That's what I do. I'm a supporting person. I am part of the foundation that will help this to grow. I'm not asking for anything. I'm just supporting. I'm part of the supporting team. So think about what you can accomplish in your life and embrace who you truly are, but really embrace the beauty of the magic of the universe. So when you work with people, don't see them as your competition, unless they really are ego-centered and really want to win everything, that becomes a different story. However, when you really embrace every single side of us and we really take down those, I, I will say habits, I will say what we've been taught, and really see with a new perspective, how can we support each other? Yes, you're going to have people who's going to try to take advantage of you. Absolutely. I would be a liar if I was saying everybody is going to act like you do. Not true. Been there, done that, seeing it quite often because in my blogs and I'm writing right now, there is the story of what happened with, that's called The Wild Ride. What happened to me since the fire. You should read it, actually. It's very inspiring. It's not here to make people cry because I'm not here to make people cry, but to inspire people. And you will see out of the woodwork, you will have genuine people coming in your life and helping you. You have the same at work. And you have people who are pretty much self-centered and just think about themselves because they don't want to help you. They want to get something out of you. Been there, done that. I recognize those people very quickly. But you have to think, when you're thinking of a team, what kind of people do I want to assemble in my team? That's another thing too. Sometimes you have to do some cleanup. Sometimes you have to do some coaching with people to try to improve the working condition. Sometimes you have to have people moving out of the team because they are not helping the team. They are creating the grain of salt that's stopping the team to really become what they're supposed to be. So helping each other, we don't live in a perfect world here. We are perfect in our own ways, but we still have so much more to do. So be inspired about who you truly are and continue to walk the walk and talk the talk. But support each other the best that you can. Now, being mindful, which is something that everybody should be doing, and it's not happening, and it depends on the awakening, you can be inspired by the Life of 1,000 and by the people that will continue to help you in their journey. Now, when we embrace who we truly are, when we are welcoming the world, then we understand that we're here for a reason. That reason is there for us to teach us something. But listening to that kid was so refreshing for me. And it wasn't him, actually. It was the gentleman talking to him, and really show good leadership. So think about what you do on your daily basis, and not only at work. And it doesn't matter if you are a CEO, manager, a lead, or a coworker. It doesn't matter. What do you do? And in your personal life, what do you do as well? Do you support each other in your own family? And I'm talking your direct family. I'm not talking your parents, your cousin. I'm talking your mate. If you have a mate, your children. How do you help each other? How do you support each other? Especially if you have a mate. How do you support each other? That is, to me, something essential. When you do coaching, and Ross Swan will say that as well, that you're changing not only the way you're coaching at work and who you're becoming at work, but you make your changes at home as well. Sati saying the same thing when we talk about mindfulness. When you go to a retreat, when you do something like that, and you really work on your own mindfulness, this is where you start to change. So the change starts within us. It doesn't start with anybody else than within us. So think about it and think what you can do for your own self. This was our podcast for today. I have no idea what we're going to talk on our next podcast. I know I missed Monday. Sorry, guys. It was a little too cuckoo for Cocoa Puff and so many things to do on Monday that I didn't have the time to record at all. But we're going to try to behave and continue to post 3 times a week. That would be great. And I will talk to you later. All my love. Bye now.